For years, Hollywood has tried relentlessly to bring to life the exciting and diverse team dynamic of one of Marvel's most iconic and best-selling comic book franchises, the X-Men. With 11 live-action films, well, 13 if you count the Deadpool movies, which we kind of have to, and billions of studio dollars given to them over the years, you'd think that we'd have covered the best stories from the pages and brought them into cinema. And while I think there are plenty of good moments hidden in these movies, and some movies in the franchise that are beyond expectations, I also think that the true potential of the X-Men and their complicated interpersonal nuance has yet to be fully realized on the big screen. That's not to say that I don't enjoy movies like the original X-Men and First Class, and of course Logan, which is easily the most bleak and disturbing film that Fox has ever made with Jackman as Wolverine. And maybe it's just my generation, but when I think of X-Men, I think of the soapy and dramatic cartoon series from 1997, which shaped my obsession with mutants and their stories as a young comic book fan. And that makes today's movie slightly more disappointing, as we're about to revisit a film that takes one of Marvel's most iconic comic book events and makes a bold attempt to bring it to reality with the Dark Phoenix saga. Nope, not that one. This one.
A personality that in our sessions came to call itself the Phoenix.
Now, I'm personally a pretty big fan of the character of Jean Grey and the Phoenix, but my love for the character and her duality of good and evil exists only in print, as I don't think this storyline can be done justly in just one film. After all, the comic book and the cartoon dedicated multiple books and episodes to this arc, and for very good reason. It's complicated. But at the end of the day, X-Men The Last Stand is about much more than just Jean. It's a movie about loss, intolerance, rebellion, and the ever-growing longing for mutants to be accepted among humans. And also it features some classic in-universe plot holes that make the entire experience very difficult to take as canon.
I don't have to explain myself, least of all to you.
Seriously, why do these movies have such a hard time keeping their story straight? Like, am I missing something? So, if you're ready, then grab your black leather jumpsuit and don't forget to like the video, because we are about to enter the danger room and revisit X-Men: The Last Stand. Okay, true believers, we're at the end of the original X-Men trilogy. If you saw our videos revisiting the last two films, you'll know that I'm a pretty big fan of the first film and not as big a fan of the second film. And in 2006, when this installment was released, I was expecting to see something more groundbreaking as a result of the rapid advancement of special effects in Hollywood and the increasingly experienced cast of celebrities who inhabit the roles. But instead, what we got is a bloated story that is packed to the brim with storylines that try to tie off the series with as little loose ends as possible. After the success of X-Men and the boom in comic book movies, it was inevitable that X-Men would continue its run in cinema with a second and third film. But when the director of the original films, Bryan Singer, chose to leave the project in favor of Superman Returns, Fox was at a standstill on how to end his trilogy. So they went to Matthew Vaughn, the director of Kick-Ass, Kingsman, and First Class. And he wasn't available. So instead, they got Rush Hour director Brett Ratner to step in to direct. Was this a mistake? Yeah.
What have I done?
But they also considered talent like Darren Aronofsky and Joss Whedon to take the helm. Poor Aronofsky just can't catch a break with superhero movies, can he? But after some development issues and having studio interference in full swing before even hiring an official director, the movie's writing was doomed from the very beginning.
Really? I doubt that.
When the idea to bring the Phoenix saga into the script was presented, Fox felt like it was too dark for a fun summer blockbuster and they scrapped the idea. It wasn't until later that it was watered down by subsequent unrelated plot lines and then it was approved to be in the story. And that just has the studio's lack of understanding of the X-Men written all over it.
I don't want to play games with you. I want answers. You don't want to play games with me?
Like I said, doomed. X-Men: The Last Stand is the third film in the original trilogy and picks up shortly after the events of the second film. The last time we saw the X-Men, they were struggling to save the day but just narrowly escaping a watery grave, with Jean Grey making the ultimate sacrifice to save her friends.
She's gone.
Don't! You don't say that!
Be getting her back. She's gone. No!
The Last Stand uses those events to motivate the story while also trying to build up to an epic final showdown between the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants and the US government. And I don't want to speak for everyone, but honestly, the government is completely out of whack in these movies. Nobody seems to have anything to say except mutant bad and human good, which would be fine if this wasn't the basis for literally everything that's happening in this whole trilogy. Xavier and the core team, Cyclops, Wolverine, and Storm, are grieving the death of Jean, and each character is handling it differently. But when Jean returns, she comes back different, darker. And upon her return, she's recruited by Magneto to lead the new Brotherhood on a fight for their freedom by destroying the government and their newfound, quote, cure for mutation. The X-Men need to band together one more time to save the day and bring Jean back from the dark path she's taken as the Phoenix.
Don't let it control you.
To set the story in motion, we get some flashbacks to the past and plenty of exposition to try rushing Jean's never-before-mentioned duality.
You have more power than you can imagine, Jean. The question is, will you control that power?
It's so frustrating, but it gets worse. Charles and Eric visit a suburban home, and we see that Charles still has full use of his legs. They're trying to recruit Jean to their school for gifted mutants and successfully persuade her and her parents. Now, first we need to address the 2006 CGI de-aging attempt that director Brett Ratner decided to go with. Here's a hot take. It doesn't look that much different than Marvel's de-aging technology today.
That depends if you think it's a poor attempt to replicate my work. Even for this group, that takes nerve.
For real, I mean, maybe they've enhanced it for HD on Disney Plus, which would not be surprising, but it honestly isn't terrible. I mean, sure, it's a bit rubbery and overly smooth, but let's face it, that's just how Marvel movies look. I also think it's important to remember that the Phoenix has never been mentioned in these movies before, which makes the attempt to shoehorn it into this movie even more sad. For context, this is an entire saga in the X-Men comics and had a 5-episode arc in the cartoon, which was fully dedicated to that one story, as opposed to this movie which tries to balance the arc of Jean with a million other spinning plates. Things like a mutant cure, a war between man and mutant, a love triangle with Iceman, Rogue, and Shadowcat for some reason, and of course the incredible sibling-like rivalry between Magneto and Professor X. And that last one I actually love.
Charles Xavier did more for mutants than you'll ever know. My single greatest regret is that he had to die for our dream to live.
We also get an introduction to an iconic X-Men member from the original comics, Archangel, or Angel, played here by the underappreciated Ben Foster. Haven't we seen him and Rebecca Romijn in another Marvel movie before? I actually love this scene where we see a young Angel locked in the bathroom trying to surgically remove his angel wings before his father finds out that he's a mutant. It's heartbreaking, and yet it shows the current state of fear-mongering against mutants in this reality. And also, it sets up Angel's father as the man who's motivated to develop a cure. Scott isn't doing well after the loss of Jean. He's not teaching his classes at the school, he's not joining them for missions, and he's definitely not up for any of Logan's antics.
Not everybody heals as fast as you, Logan.
When he goes to the lake where Jean died, he senses her presence through telepathic communication, and then, a whopping 15 minutes into the movie, he dies. That's it. He just dies. That's what happens. Cyclops just dies.
Tell me what happened to him.
So now Jean is back at the X-Mansion, where Charles attempts to free her from her murderous tendencies and bring her back to the Jean Grey that we all know and love. Charles gives Logan some exposition explaining that he's known about Jean's dark side since the very beginning, and he didn't think to tell anybody about this? Meanwhile, Bobby Drake, played here by Shawn Ashmore, is caught in a love triangle with his longtime girlfriend Rogue, played by Anna Paquin, and Kitty Pryde, played here by Elliot Page, which goes absolutely nowhere. It's maybe the most unnecessary drama in the movie, and it doesn't even have a real payoff. Rogue is feeling insecure about not being able to touch Bobby physically when she hears about this new mutant cure, which can immediately preserve the human DNA of mutants while killing off the mutation. Rogue wants in on it, but doesn't really know how to tell the group.
I want to be able to touch people, Logan. A hug. A handshake.
And that's part of what I find so troubling about this movie as well. The X-Men could not be more disbanded at this point. Not on purpose, they just all have their own storylines going on and none of them seem to overlap. Now during all of this, Magneto, Pyro, and Mystique are recruiting some new talent for their Brotherhood of Mutants in the form of Callisto, Multiple Man, Kid Omega, and, of course,
the Juggernaut, bitch!
The plan is to locate the source of the cure, a young mutant called Leech, who's kind of an anti-mutant. He's a young kid whose ability is to reverse mutation. So naturally, the government is using his blood to make a serum that can supposedly cure mutants of their powers. Magneto and the new Brotherhood want to find Leech and stop the cure from being distributed.
They wish to cure us, but I say to you, we are the cure!
The X-Men, now without Cyclops because he just died, enlist the help of a genius-level mutant called Beast, played by Kelsey Grammer, who looks, sounds, and acts perfectly as this big blue Einstein.
As Churchill said, there comes a time when all men must... Oh, you get the point!
Seriously, I don't know what it is with Fox and blue mutants, but whenever they try to do a blue mutant, it looks amazing in these movies. Like, look at Mystique and Nightcrawler. But this cool stuff with Beast is ruined pretty quickly when Charles, Storm, and Logan find Jean and try to bring her back to her normal self. And then Professor X dies. Well, not really, but we'll get into that. And you know what? It's not even earned. It's just as forced as Cyclops' ridiculous exit to this franchise. So the X-Men are recruiting to help save Jean, who has joined Magneto's Brotherhood, and stop them from destroying the cure. It seems like everybody's just recruiting. That's like the entire movie is recruiting.
So, you have talents.
That and more.
You guys remember how Logan was kind of like the main character of the first movie? Well, he takes a backseat in this film along with almost everybody else. It's weird to see so many cool characters in this movie and almost none of them get any development. Beast is awesome, but he really only shows up for a few scenes. Juggernaut was exciting to see, although his character was just made to be a big dumb brute. And all the hype we get for Angel is completely deflated as he's literally useless in this movie. He's in like 3 scenes and says like 5 words and that's it.
I was told that this was a safe place for mutants.
However, while the story is all over the place and the characters are treated like disposable nothing superheroes and it's packed with bullshit like Iceman freezing a fountain so he can ice skate with Kitty, there's also a few things that deserve some praise upon this rewatch. For example, we get to see the Danger Room, a brief look at the Sentinels, and an amazing performance from Sir Ian McKellen, and even an interesting take on Wolverine's Berserker rage. Finally. Now, remember, true believers, the X-Men was always envisioned as a soap opera. Serialized stories about interpersonal relationships between students at a special school isn't that far off from any one of the teen dramas we grew up on. But here's the issue. The X-Men in these movies are just a blend of adults who are already in full control of their powers and kids who get no attention in the film, and all we get to tie them together is a few action scenes where the students and their teachers from Xavier's school work together to have a super-powered battle with other mutants. There isn't any writing dedicated to the individual characters. I would have liked to have seen some of the B-plots dropped from this movie in favor of giving more development to a character like Leech, who is a very interesting mutant in his own right, but also completely underused and underserved in the story. It pisses me off that we get more scenes where Bobby is low-key flirting with Kitty than we get of Angel and his interesting backstory. In the comics, Warren, or Angel, is the son of a billionaire who works in an anti-mutant research group, and he's ashamed of his gifts until Xavier and the X-Men help him love himself. In the movie, he's just a kid who hates his mutation when he's like 10, but then when the father tries to cure him later in his life, he just doesn't want to do it.
Wait. I can't do this.
But why? Could we not get like 5 extra minutes dedicated to this? It just seems kind of important. So throughout the movie, everybody is kind of split up, but it all culminates in a final battle that pits the Brotherhood against the humans and the X-Men against both of them. Again, there is some stuff to appreciate in this scene. We get to see Bobby turn into full Iceman, which is fun. We get to see Wolverine pop his claws and do some damage, which is always sick. And Beast finally gets some combat to contrast his otherwise fully composed character. Let your freak flag fly, Hank. We love you.
You realize the level of impact this will have on the mutant community?
Yes.
Jean by this point has been fully taken by the Phoenix persona, although none of her development happens on screen, of course. And Wolverine uses his ability to heal himself to stand up against her when no one else can, and ultimately he's forced to kill her with his claws in order to save everyone else from her raw power. Something that, again, would be nice to fully flesh out within the movie so that this scene doesn't come off as a completely silly resolution to a very real conflict. Way to go, boys. Way to go.
Maybe it's time for us to move on.
Magneto is shot with the Kier and seemingly stripped of his powers, which brings the realization to him that he has messed up bad. He flees with the rest of the Brotherhood, and the day is officially saved. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Mystique is also cured of her abilities, and Magneto just drops her cold like halfway through the movie.
Such a shame. She was so beautiful.
Director Brett Ratner had brought us a final installment that didn't work for anyone. The film was poorly received for good reason by audiences, and the box office take, while being solid at over $400 million, was not matched in the film's underwhelming reviews.
Well, that's ridiculous.
For my money, the key to making a good X-Men movie is to spend time developing the long list of interesting characters and seeing them as individuals who are part of a collective team, as opposed to making a team-up movie where nobody has time to be seen or heard as a person. X-Men is all about inclusion and embracing diversity, yet this movie treats all mutants like generic teenagers who occasionally work with other generic teenagers to stop a threat. And that's just not what I, or many of you, want from an X-Men movie. This is proven by the franchise's later attempts to retcon this movie in favor of a prequel, sequel, spin-off series known widely as the First Class series, which tracks the same characters through a different timeline. It's a much better series, and some installments in it are way better than others, and this is something that we will undoubtedly be covering in the future, along with the Wolverine trilogy and New Mutants, eventually. Which, by the way, I do have some hot takes on those movies, and you are not going to want to miss that.
You know, sometimes when you cage the beast gets angry.
You have no idea.
X-Men The Last Stand is too dumb to be considered dumb fun, and yet it's too dense to be considered a nothing movie. I think if you want to recreate the Phoenix Saga in live action ever again, maybe this time do it over like a limited series and dedicate the entire main storyline to that one plot. No more of this flip-floppy and convoluted stories, okay Marvel? Just give it to us the way we want it. The right way. Thank you all for watching this episode of Marvel Revisited, and we will see you next time.
Class dismissed.
I know. Hello, happy Friday, everybody. It looks like there's already a bunch of you on the stream. What's going on? Hello, welcome. Thank you all for being here once again. This is Friday Night Flicks. My name is Kier Gomes. I'm going to be your host for this evening. Guys, we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, so I hope everybody's ready to really geek out, because most of it is superhero related, which I have a very big love-hate relationship with, as I'm sure regulars of the show can attest to. So what is going on? Thank you guys so much for being here. Lots of good comments already. Hip Hop Legend is here. Hello. Thank you for being here and welcome home. If this is your first stream that you're joining from us, please consider joining my Friday night cult, where every Friday we meet up here and we worship cinema. Consider it. And all you have to do is give us 50% of your monthly income. Nerd Cage Live is here. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for being here. Big shout out. Dungeon Crawler. And here we go. I'm assuming that's what you're referencing. It's, you know, this is a movie stream, so you really could only be referencing one thing when you say such a thing. Yeah, and for that YouTuber with Kiki as the profile picture 06, first of all, welcome back, welcome home. Any returning people, you get a welcome home. That's for you. Oh, and same for you, Hip Hop Legend. Yes, you're home away from home. We're here. We're always here for you every Friday. Yeah, I would love to play some MF Doom on the stream, but unfortunately for copyright purposes, I don't see that going my way. But I'm a big MF Doom fan as well. I love this comment here. This is my favorite. I'm going to star this one. This one just warms my heart, you know, because this is also my home away from home. And as you guys know, I've been trying very hard for months, every single week, to make you guys my friends. And I feel that every single week I get a little bit closer to that. So here we go. This one is for all of you. You all get one of these.
Hello there.
Hello there. All right, we got somebody named Cora G in the chat. I appreciate you being here. Don't call me love, though. Please. Cartoon Man is here. Thank you, thank you. And to address this comment, my brother, there is a giveaway tonight. So if you guys are interested in winning some free stuff, stick around to the end of the stream. We're going to be doing that last after we get through all the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. So yes, Cartoon Man, get your creativity hat on, okay? Because there is going to be a giveaway tonight, and I want you to win it if you can. All right, cool. I'm pretty much caught up on all the sweet comments, and then a bunch of you guys have put some good stuff in here, so I appreciate that. And I will be taking comments throughout the stream as well, so if you guys want to provide any of your opinions, thoughts, commentary on any of the stuff that we're covering, put it in the comments, put it in the chat, and I'll be kind of using that to guide us through tonight's live stream. Okay. Now, obviously, you guys could tell from the thumbnail, we got a pretty X-Men heavy episode tonight, which can only mean one thing, and that is that I am fully invested in the topics of tonight. So here's one to kick us off. You guys will probably hear that sound a bunch of times throughout the course of the evening. Trust, you probably will. So yeah, guys, if you didn't know, if you're living under a rock, something like hundreds of millions of people tuned in to the Marvel live stream just a couple of days ago. It was about a 5-6 hour live stream where Marvel just showed us a shitload of chairs. And you know, so I got pretty excited about it. I had it on in the background while I was working, but every time I heard a song come on, if you didn't see it, I'm not going to play it for you because there's really nothing to see. It was not like visually, there wasn't a lot going on. It was just information being very slowly drip fed to dorks like myself, okay, who were there to watch it. But here's what happened. It's a live stream. A figure comes from out of focus and puts a chair directly in focus. And on the back of that chair says, Chris Hemsworth, who, if you don't know, then you're living under two rocks. But that's Thor. So And the live stream, by the way, the live stream was just called Announcement, which I thought was cool. It was ominous. It was weird. Yeah. Oh, thank you, hip hop legend. Yeah. So Chris Hemsworth gets revealed. Okay. So this eventually announcement it turned out to be the first round of casting announcements for Avengers Doomsday, Marvel's new big crossover event. Okay. The new Infinity War. But the stream, I mean, man, I would say like how overzealous and kind of presumptuous to plan for a 5-hour stream where just 27 names over the course of 5 and 6 hours are just, shown to us. There was 1 or 2 little gags, like Paul Rudd was announced and he had a tiny little chair, like, cause he plays Ant-Man. And then they did do some cool, like musical cues, like the Fox X-Men theme song came and they announced a whole bunch of them. Although I didn't hear any X-Men, the animated series theme song. And they're allowed to use that now. So that needs to be put into a cinematic score immediately, sent bootleg to my place so I can listen to it. And then if it's good, I'll tell you guys about it. That's how we're going to do that. And Feige, I know Kevin, I call him Kevin. If you're seeing this stream, which I know you're probably here, you might be Bootzilla or Hip Hop Legend. But if you're really Kevin Feige and you're watching this, just send over this score to my house. But do it in cinematic form, please. Morph would be a cool villain to see, or not villain, a cool X-Men to see in the movie. I wonder if they'll do it though, because there's also some Spider-Man 4 news about who a potential villain might be, and the sort of power set is similar. So, all right, guys, let's get into it. Cartoon Man, thoughts on Wolverine and the X-Men? If you guys don't know, that's an animated series, and it is very good. In fact, X-Men always have good cartoons. I've watched, I believe 3, maybe 4, but 4. I watched X-Men the animated series in the 90s, loved it. My favorite X-Men cartoon, X-Men Evolution. If you guys haven't seen X-Men Evolution, that is my era of X-Men. It's kind of an ultimate X-Men before the Ultimate X-Men. And then I watched Wolverine and the X-Men, which I love. My favorite character design for Wolverine in that one. And then I watched X-Men 97, of course, the revival of the animated series, which honestly, pretty good. Almost as good as the animated series. With more seasons, they could do it. Yeah, Nightcrawler was announced. Yeah, let's talk about who was announced. Okay, so Marvel did this kind of this big old announcement, and some of them were more typical names, right? Anthony Mackie. Obviously, he's going to be in the movie because every Avengers movie needs a Captain America. And he's Captain America, like it or not, so he'll be in the movie. I don't mind. I didn't like the movie. I didn't like Brave New World, but I have no problem with Anthony Mackie as Captain America, except for the fact that he's fucking invincible. When the whole point is that he's like Captain America minus the super soldier, which also kind of doesn't make sense, but whatever, get over it. But then they announced, like, some people that maybe you didn't expect to see, like the entire cast of the Thunderbolts, who apparently don't die unless maybe that movie takes place after after Doomsday for some, I don't know. The Fantastic Four, blah blah blah. But there's some big ones. Yeah, so let's start with the one that maybe shocked me the most. Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler. It had me, Alan Cumming, in my pants when I found out. Okay. Yeah. So if you guys haven't seen, for some reason, X2, it is probably, it's God tier X-Men films, There's been some X-Men movies that I would say are quintessential X-Men live action. That is one of them. And the opening scene of X2, X-Men United, is a Nightcrawler sequence where he breaks into a government office, the White House, the fictional White House in the movie, and he wreaks havoc, okay? And then gets his grubby little blue hands like this, gets his grubby little blue hands on the X-Men president, okay? And almost does a deed, but then doesn't, okay? Listen, that was a lot of explanation. The scene kicks ass. I would show it to you here, but it's more than 2 minutes long. And if I don't show it in its entirety, there's just no purpose, because all I'm going to be doing, if I show you just a small clip, it's going to have you the whole hour of this live stream wondering, how good is the rest of it? And I assure you it's very good. So if you haven't seen it, please watch X2. Now, X2 is the only X-Men movie that has this Nightcrawler. Some of the prequel movies have Nightcrawler played by a different actor, and he's also underused in those movies. But in X2, he's great. I would say this was the one that caught me off guard the most for two reasons. Number one, Nightcrawler has only, like, Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler was only in the one movie. He didn't come back for the third one. He wasn't in Days of Future Past when they crossed over. None of that stuff. However, the second reason is kind of more damning. Why I was really surprised to see this is that Alan Cumming has gone on record saying that the reason he didn't come back for the second film, or for another film, was because he hated the makeup. He hated getting put in the makeup, just like Jennifer Lawrence hated it with Mystique, just like Kelsey Grammer admitted that it was not fun for him when he played Beast, which obviously means one thing and one thing only. We are going to get Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, but the caveat, he's probably going to be CGI blue. So I think it could still be good. Honestly, I'm so excited he's going to be in it. I think his performance is going to be so good that I can get over if they don't do practical makeup for this. It just doesn't make sense to do that, especially if he's only going to be in one or two scenes, which we'll talk more about how I think the X-Men fit into the overall MCU. But for now, I'm choosing to stay excited, and I hope that they keep the same design minus the costume, because we're going to talk more about that as well. But I definitely think they should give us the Jim Lee era X-Men in terms of like the aesthetic. I would like to see the Jim Lee X-Men with the kind of the X-Men 97, the 90s X-Men animated series. I would like to see like the prime X-Men with their gold and blue suits. Yep, Gambit is also coming back. We'll talk about that as well. All right, so we got Alan Cumming announced as Nightcrawler. Now, I'm not going in any order. These are just, by order of excitement, okay? Not even by order of excitement. What am I saying? Just kind of, okay? It doesn't matter. We've got James Marsden coming back as Cyclops. This is less of a surprise because he has done this. He was in Days of Future Past as Cyclops with the cool, weird-ass Oakleys on. A bummer of a cameo, though, I will say. Kind of like, you're happy because it looks like, it's kind of a way of showing that Wolverine succeeded in that movie, but just not enough Cyclops. Cyclops has always been getting done dirty, in the movies. And I'm not saying that I'm a big fan of the Cyclops character. Like in the comic books, I find Cyclops sometimes a little bit annoying, a little bit cringe, a little bit whiny. But I do love James Marsden, and I love him as Cyclops. And I think that there's a big opportunity here to see James Marsden in that Jim Lee Cyclops suit. We had somebody in the comments mention it before, and I totally agree. I need to see that gold visor, that big red stripe across it. I need to see the pouches. I want to see the gold sash, the Boy Scout sash. I want all of that. Oh man, yeah, no, James Marsden won't be too comedic. Cyclops ain't comedic, and James Marsden, he at least knows how to be Cyclops. He did a good job of that. Glindelbro wants to know, will the Punisher be in it? They did not announce John Bernthal or Thomas Jane, and obviously they can't announce Ray Stevenson. Rest in peace. So no, as far as we know, no Punisher, but who knows? All right, so we have Nightcrawler, we got Cyclops, we're getting Ian McKellen back as Magneto. Now, this is where I kind of stopped and went, okay, are we taking this a bit too far? Because Sir Ian McKellen, one of my favorite Marvel castings of all time, Ian McKellen as Magneto. I love it. But he is like nearly 100 years old, right? The guy is old. And I don't know how I feel. Like at this point, I almost think it would have been cool. Bring back Michael Fassbender, who also was an incredible Magneto. Incredible. The second best Magneto, So I think it's weird. I like that Ian McKellen is going to be here. I hope they give him something to do. I hope they give him a few sassy lines, you know. But, I mean, him and Patrick Stewart at this point, dude, like these dudes, they're old. And it's, you know, this is kind of, I also think it's kind of like the, when I hear about like the Goonies potentially getting a legacy sequel and, you know, reuniting the cast for another adventure. And I think about that and I go, you know, there's the part of me that loves the Goonies and would love to catch up with the Goonies. But then there's also that part of me that's like, do I want to see men in their mid-50s going on a treasure hunt? I'm not sure. And it's, you know, kind of the same thing here with Magneto. And of course, Patrick Stewart as Professor X. Now, this one, again, less of a surprise. He was in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But dude, look at me get close to me, you guys. Get close to your screens. And if you're watching this with a partner, all of us will put our heads together. He was already old as shit in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Like, he looked like he was hanging on by a thread. No offense. I love Patrick Stewart. He didn't look like he was like spry, you know? He didn't look like he was still doing it. Yeah, 3D head creeps. We need a 90s levels of pouches. Yeah, so we need those Rob Liefeld ass tiny pouches here just to add dimension and dynamics to your costume. I would love to see though some pouches. Wouldn't you? Like a Cyclops with a couple of pouches on his costume? I would kind of be down for that, man. Hip hop legend. I wish Snipes would come back. Well, I think it's funny because I would have bet that he was going to come back. But I think what'll happen instead is Blade will show up, at least if not in Doomsday, then definitely in Secret Wars, and he will be played by the long-awaited Mahershala Ali. That's what I predict will happen. I think Wesley Snipes is out as Blade finally, and it's bittersweet. I think the Blade, like the first two Blade movies, I still think are some of the best vampire movies ever made, and I love a vampire movie. You know, The Lost Boys is one of my favorite films. Okay, but Mahershala Ali, like, this is why it's bittersweet. I want Wesley Snipes as Blade selfishly because I love the character. I love those movies, some of them. But I also think Mahershala Ali will make a great Blade. And I don't want to, you know, like, I don't want to take Wesley Snipes' joke in Deadpool about being the one and only Blade forever. I don't want to take that and go, that's actually how I feel. I want to take that as a joke and go, it's because we know there's another younger Blade on the horizon that we can get excited about. Tales from the Hood TV, what's up? Thank you for being here. Yeah, Bootzilla says, yes, this is too much, him and Patrick Stewart. Yeah, man. I know. It's getting a little bit, they're getting old. They're definitely getting old. Yeah. Gray Jedi says he was old in Lord of the Rings, talking about Ian McKellen. Yeah. I like this. The Last Laugh says, oh, I don't know if I can even show that that's not, your profile picture is deceiving and it makes me uncomfortable. But he says Eld in other worlds. That's funny. Yeah. Look at you guys, man. A lot of you guys are like, he was old in this movie. He was old in that movie. I know. Hey, Be Positive 99. Hey, thanks for being here. Yeah, so we'll talk about who's not cast in this movie soon enough, for sure. Yeah, Mahershala Ali is already past 50, but I mean, Wesley Snipes is in his 60s by now. You know what I mean? So, or close to at least. So, all right, let's take a look though. Who else got cast in the movie? So we had, you know, Magneto, Professor X, Cyclops, and Nightcrawler. I was really excited about. We're getting Kelsey Grammer back as Beast. This was the least surprising because they already showed Beast at the end of the Marvels. He was the post-credit scene reveal when Monica Rambeau wakes up and Beast is like, oh, peculiar. And he looked not that great, but not terrible. Just not as good as, like, you know, not as good as it would look if it was practical. I said this in the pre-show video and I mean it. If Fox understood one thing with X-Men, they understood a lot of things with X-Men. Like Fox, I think for the most part, not for the most part, but Fox definitely did some good X-Men. Okay, they've given us some great X-Men. But when they do blue characters, they did them the best. Nightcrawler looked amazing. Mystique always looked amazing in every movie. Beast looked amazing, at least in the Kelsey Grammer Beast. I think the design of Nicholas Hoult Beast was awful. I talked about that in a video. Yeah. Yeah, Azo hunted, or Azo. Yeah, dude, you got me. You busted me there, man. I for sure got uncomfortable when I saw the picture, and thank you for enjoying that genuine reaction because I was freaked out, man. If you guys didn't see, one of these avatar pictures is very scary, very deceiving. All right, now to add to the roster of blue X-Men showing up in Avengers Doomsday, a very green feeling movie because of the Doom element, but Mystique, but not just Mystique. Mystique played by Rebecca Romijn, or Rebecca Romijn, if you've never heard her name said out loud. This is good for me. I think Rebecca Romijn, she's a little older now. She's of a certain age or whatever. But Mystique, you cannot tell. Plus, she'll be shape-shifting, so she'll be other actors at times. But I think that with Mystique, with all the scales and the blue and the yellow eyes, and I think the scales really hide any signs of aging. So for Mystique, she could kind of be any age as long as physically she can maneuver and still do those high kicks in combat. I think that'll be okay. Yeah. Well, you guys really liked my reaction to that obscene profile picture, huh? I liked the picture, but until I couldn't tell what I was looking at for a while. All right, then it got announced to kind of cap off some of the X-Men. It got announced that Channing Tatum will be in this movie as Gambit. Listen, I liked Channing Tatum as Gambit in terms of I thought it was fun for Deadpool and Wolverine. And Gambit is my favorite X-Men, okay? I love Gambit. I use playing cards all the time. I know how to throw them. I like Gambit. But I didn't know about Channing Tatum as Gambit. It felt fun for the joke, right? The joke of Channing Tatum playing Gambit because his movie never got made, that was funny for me. But what I don't love is the actual execution. I thought his accent, while it was Cajun, it wasn't real Cajun. It was joke Cajun, if you've heard real Cajun people speak, they do kind of sound like that if you're not familiar, but you could hear there was a level of irony in it that ruined the realism for me. So, yeah, and they got to give him the red eyes. They left Channing Tatum with regular eyes. He needs to have purple where the whites of his eyes are, and then red irises. That's how you have to do it. Yeah, Gambit's the best, man. He is. Do you guys like that sound? Is that ASMR to you? Does that do anything for you guys? I happen to love the sound of cards being shuffled. You guys will let me know if you like it. If you hate it, I'll find out in about a minute when these comments start coming through about it. And if you do hate it, I'm sorry about that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to give Channing Tatum another shot. Obviously, they're letting him come back as Gambit. And I love his costume. I love the Gambit comic book accurate costume. But again, I would have liked to have seen a younger, more spry Gambit. I think Lakeith Stanfield would be my choice for Gambit. And he could definitely do Cajun. So that would have been cool. All right, now we also got Fantastic Four are going to be in this movie. At the very least, we know Vanessa Kirby, Ebon Moss-Bachrach are going to be in it, and Joseph Quinn. I can't remember if Pascal was announced, but I'm pretty sure that all of the Fantastic Four will be in it. And so for that, I'm excited. I'm excited about this because we have the Fantastic Four movie coming out, and I think it's going to be good. I think the trailer looks really good. I actually think the Fantastic Four trailer did what I wanted the Superman trailer to do, which was give me hope that the movie's going to be great. And as much as I think James Gunn is going to do a good job with Superman, I honestly was not sold by that trailer. Fantastic Four, complete opposite. I wasn't sure what to expect from Matt Shakman. And then it's Matt Shakman directing it, right? From WandaVision? I think so. And then the trailer came out and I was like, oh yeah. And I love the score, the Fantastic Four. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Oh, Grey Jedi. Yeah, Grey Jedi not feeling the Superman trailer either, it looks like. Yeah. Great job. Oh, you loved the old Fantastic Four movies? I actually do like the Tim Story, the first Tim Story Fantastic Four movie, in kind of like a guilty pleasure sort of way. Be Positive 99 says Spanish people cannot pronounce the letter X in English. They say kiss me instead of X-Men. Love the Spanish language. Well, I also love the Spanish language. But I'm not sure if X-Men means kiss me. I don't think that's how it works. Yeah, Michael Chiklis was a great thing for sure. I didn't love like the design of the Thing. Actually, I kind of did love the design of the Thing, to be honest. But it looked a little bit like a rubber suit, you know. It looked hot in there. But Michael Chicle, as I call him, yeah, great Ben Grimm. Yeah, great Jedi. Silver Surfer was good in terms of like the design and Lawrence Fishburne as the voice. But the Silver Surfer character in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer sucked ass. I made a whole video about this. I probably showed it as a pre-show to one of these. The thing about Rise of the Silver Surfer that I hated was that the Silver Surfer started off as he works for Galactus. He comes and scouts out the planets and then signals to Galactus through his, being, signals out, you can come eat this planet. It's safe for you to eat. Right? He's like a nutrition coach for the galaxy eating Galactus. Problem is, he's doing it because his girlfriend, his lady, is being kidnapped by Galactus. Is basically like, I'll let your girlfriend survive, but I'm going to eat your planet, but I'm going to leave you and her alive if you go scout these and be my nutrition expert. But then as soon as the Silver Surfer meets Sue Storm, as soon as he meets Jessica Alba, he falls in love with Jessica Alba. He like sees her and is like, oh, never mind. I want to save this planet. Huh? Why? What? Because a pretty girl was nice to you? I think that's what I said in the video. You want to save the planet now because a pretty girl was nice to you? Get over yourself, Norrin Rad. More like Norrin Bad in that movie. Okay. Now, let's talk about who's not in the movie. According to not according to anything, but in the casting announcement live stream, there was no semblance of any of these three Spider-Men, okay? So if you can get me pictures of Spider-Man, I'll pay top dollar. But Andrew Garfield supposedly is not Spider-Man anymore. He did his thing, which he lied to us about, and then now he's not Spider-Man. I think he's still going to be Spider-Man. I think we can fully expect to see him again. Same thing with Toby even. I do. I actually think these guys might show up in the next Spider-Man movie, which we're also going to talk about shortly. Rosa G is here. Hello. Hello. Thank you for being here. And I hope you're having the best night ever. Thank you guys all so much for the comments, by the way. Yeah, so no Spider-Man announced. Now, I did hear a rumor. This kind of leads into what we'll talk about with Spider-Man updates. I did hear a rumor that Spider-Man 4... Now, this is coming from a scooper that I don't really fuck with. But Jeff Snyder says that Spider-Man's not in Avengers Doomsday because his movie, Spider-Man 4, whatever that's going to be called, takes place at the same time as Avengers Doomsday. So if that's true, here's what that confirms. Spider-Man 4 takes place in a different reality, right? Because it obviously would have to. Spider-Man would have to be there if they're facing off against Doctor Doom, right? He would have to be there. Big shocker. Speaking of shocker, or not speaking of shocker, I actually though there was a small kind of update on Spider-Man 4. Let me go to. There was kind of a small update on Spider-Man 4 that the Chameleon might be the primary villain of the movie, which would potentially rule out Sadie Sink. They could gender swap the Chameleon. I don't know why they would, but I also don't know why they couldn't. Like, nothing about the Chameleon is specific to him being a dude, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But they're saying that the Chameleon will likely be the villain of Spider-Man 4, and they're also saying that they can't or won't call him the Chameleon because they're afraid, because the Chameleon was in Kraven the Hunter, that movie that just tanked with Aaron Taylor Johnson. So I don't know. I think it would be weird if think it'd be weird if you have a multiverse, like a big multiverse movie with 3 Spider-Men and they're trying to take out the Chameleon. That doesn't seem right to me, but then again, I don't know. I don't know. And I have faith. I like what they did with Mysterio. Definitely. All right, so yeah, no Spider-Man in the movie, which I do think is weird, but I also think they said that they're gonna be like doing more announcements for more cast. Robert Downey Jr. like did a tweet, and they said something like, "Yes, we have more that we've not confirmed," something like that. Lawrence Fishburne was Cowboy Curtis. He also was the voice of the Silver Surfer. Okay, I'll stop messing with the cards. I don't know if you guys love it or hate it, but you know, for some of us, it's a nice distraction from having to look at my giant head. Yeah, no. Now I want to know what you guys think about this. Let's talk real quick about, and then we'll move on to some of our other topics. But let's talk really quick about if this is to be the primary cast, at least the ones that Marvel felt necessary to announce first for the new Avengers crossover event. It's like weird to call it a movie, right? When there's like this many cast members. Is it possible that this is going to be like the whole movie would take place in an alternate universe that's not 616? That's kind of what I'm wondering. I think that if, especially with Spider-Man 4 coming out same time, same summer, I'm wondering if what'll happen is neither movie takes place on 616. Because it's the multiverse saga, they can kind of do that. And the result will be by the end of Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, the birth of a new primary universe, a new sacred timeline, a new 616. That's kind of my theory. I would probably have to watch for a bunch of Easter eggs and like Loki and everything in the multiverse saga to fully develop my theory. But my theory is that both movies will not take place in 616. They'll take place somewhere else, but the events of whatever happens in these movies will lead to the birth of a new 616 where mutants have always existed, the Fantastic Four have always existed, and the Eternals are gone because clearly Marvel has no plans on doing anything with the Eternals. None of them are coming back. Big shocker. We're getting Shang-Chi, which I'm excited about. We're not getting any of the Eternals. No Harry Styles for us. No Barry Keoghan for us. No Angelina Jolie for us. No, what's that one Irish guy's name? Richard Madden? Is it Richard Madden? No him either. He's not coming back either. Grey Jedi, who will go to the cinema to see it? I mean, I'm going to have to, you know. I think that, like, these are movies that I don't even get that excited about Marvel movies anymore, you know? Like, I've been let down recently too many times. And it kind of like, you know, to where like now a new Marvel movie comes out, I just get exhausted. I don't even feel like excitement. I just go straight to the part where I'm exhausted. But this is a little bit different because they're bringing back my X-Men. You guys want a different sound instead of that one? Here, how about, can you guys tell me what movie this is from? You guys tell me what movie that's from. I'm sure you can. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, so like I was saying, I don't get that excited about these movies anymore because I just don't know what the quality is going to be, but I still go see them at the movies most of the time, not all of the time. You know, like I don't know. Like some of them I feel like I have to see, you know, like Captain America. He's kind of a prime. He's like a main player Avenger. You know, I'm watching Daredevil Born Again right now. That's got me, if anything has me MCU hyped, it's Daredevil right now. Yeah, okay, you guys all caught it. It was from Top Gun, by the way. It was. Okay, let's get into some movie news. You guys want to get crazy and go into some movie news outside of the incredible Avengers casting, Avengers Doomsday casting? Okay. Okay. Let's see what else we got. So yeah, if you guys didn't, by the way, don't watch it like the live stream that Marvel did. Like, don't waste your time watching it. You can find now a condensed list online of all 27 actors that they announced. If you guys want a full list of who was announced, go read this article and it's in there. But I thought this was interesting. This was something I wanted to share. They're in the middle of filming a new season of Daredevil right now, Born Again. Obviously, the public has only gotten 6 episodes. I've only seen 6 episodes. Like, I didn't get any special Disney screener for the show or anything. So I don't know how it ends, but I do know that this look at Charlie Cox sporting this new costume for season 2 has me pretty stoked. Pretty damn stoked. Now this, I love it. I don't know what else to say besides he finally got the comic book accurate double D's on the chest. We gave Daredevil a good set of double D's. I'm not the first one to make that joke, but if you're hearing it here for the first time, I'll take the applause. Yeah. Now this looks great. Here's what I think we're looking at, okay? I think that this is an attempt to make a comic book accurate Daredevil costume and it doesn't look like it's supposed to be black. It looks like there's scrapes and like, and weathering and like patina almost on it where you can tell that the suit is red underneath. I'll give you a really good look. Look at his arm in this picture right here. Like on the bottom right and on the bottom left. His arm, I don't know if that's supposed to be like blood, like a wound, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like that's where the suit, the original color of the suit is coming through a new color. Like maybe he's spray painted this Miles Morales style. I can't really tell. But I also know that, yeah, exactly. It looks like it was spray painted black. I like this though. And I like the stencil double D's on the chest. I really do think that adds something to this, because right now the Daredevil suit is very cool. At the end of episode 6, he puts on the Daredevil suit and it looks cool, but it's very tactical still. It still looks like a tactical suit that's just red. Just like how I think it should be done with Nightwing, Daredevil's one of those characters where just put him in the skin-tight leotard. He's an acrobat. That's what he would be wearing, right? Now I know he's got to protect himself from all this stuff. Fuck it, just make him so good at being blind that he just doesn't take hits. Okay, no more bullseye hitting him with knives. We don't need it. Just give him a leotard and let him be cool. So by the way, Daredevil definitely going to be in Doomsday, so that's also cool. But let me know what you guys think of this first look at a new Daredevil costume. Personally, I'm liking it. I'm liking this a lot. I think it still captures Daredevil, but it adds a little bit more like, I don't know, gritty prestige to it, perhaps. Maybe that's, And then while we're on the subject of first looks at things, we got a poster and an official plot line for the new I Know What You Did Last Summer. The poster doesn't give away anything. This is the thing with some of these. Like, I wanted to do like I could have done like a whole video about how much I love I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original one. And I even have a soft spot for that second one, and I haven't seen any of the reboot. I watched some of the reboot TV show, and I hated it. It was on Amazon Prime. Sucked. I hated it. This I'm excited for. I think legacy sequels are getting a little bit out of hand, though. I think we're getting a little bit too excited about the legacy sequel these days, especially when it comes to horror movies. Doesn't always work, Scream does it well. They kind of kicked it off, But then Texas Chainsaw Massacre didn't do it well. As far as like the legacy sequel aspect of that movie, it puts the ass in aspect. That's for sure. Okay. And then obviously Blumhouse tried to do a legacy sequel to The Exorcist, which turned out to be hot garbage. Or as my man Scott Pocket would say, garbaggio. If you guys get that reference, let me know, but I guarantee you none of you will get that reference. None of you. Now let's talk about the plot line though. I'm zoomed all the way out. That's insane. That's a huge poster. Let's see what we can find here. All right. So here's the sequel synopsis. Now they're keeping with the same exact name, which is I Know What You Did Last Summer. Scream did it too. And it was cool when Scream did it, I guess. But even Scream eventually got co-opted into just being called Scream 5. This is going to go into being called like I Will Always Know What You Did Last Summer, or I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot. They're going to eventually add some kind of like subtext to this, okay? But here's the synopsis. When 5 friends inadvertently cause a deadly car accident, they cover up their involvement and make a pact to keep it secret rather than face the consequences. Does this sound familiar? A year later, their past comes back to haunt them and they're forced to confront the horrifying truth. Someone knows what they did last summer and is hell-bent on revenge. As one by one, the friends are stalked by a killer. They discover that this has happened before, and they turn to 2 survivors of the legendary Southport massacre of 1997 for help. And just like that, you guys, my excitement is gone. The plot synopsis sucks ass. Do I have anything for this? Let me see if I have a sound that'll capture how I feel. Yeah. Just my inner emo coming out because I'm so fucking emotional. I'm so pissed about this, guys. It sounds stupid. It sounds dumb. It's the exact same plot synopsis. But this is what they did with Scream 5. Scream 5 was good. But you can do this with Scream 5. It's kind of a meta deal. And I admit, Kevin Williamson, you know, he surprises me. He's got tricks up his sleeve that even I don't know of. So it could be good, but man, I was really, it chapped my ass big time. I read that plot synopsis and was like, that sounds so fucking redundant. You know, just watch the 1997 film. It's so good. Still, so good. I know what you did last Easter. Yeah, Tales from the Hood. I know what you did. I know what you did last St. Patrick's Day. Here on this show, we call it, I know what you did last Friday night flicks. Okay. Yes, I saw you guys. I saw you guys asking about Final Destination. Let's do it. I happen to have here. I'm not gonna play this trailer with sound, but if you got, I'm gonna let it run, but not with sound for copyright reasons. If you guys haven't seen yet, though, we did get an official trailer, not just the teaser scene, for the new Final Destination movie, Final Destination Bloodlines, which, I'm going to be honest, you guys, I thought this trailer looked sick. This was way cooler than I expected. I kind of was waiting for it to be a dud, because as much as I like the clip that they leaked, or whatever, that they released a month ago, as much as I thought the clip was cool, I was like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Where do you go from here? Final Destination has had, 5 movies already? Some of them are very cool. I love the first one. I love the second one. The second one's probably my favorite. And then diminishing returns after that. But truthfully, and I really mean this, I think Final Destination had, a good run with the first couple of movies. I was not that excited. But this trailer, which was really fucking long, did a good job of making me go, all right, here's a legacy sequel I might be able to get behind. But it looks like it might be more of a prequel and sequel in the same movie. What it's going to do is it's going to illustrate an event that happened way back in the day in a high-rise restaurant where a bunch of people should have died but didn't. And then, because of that, all of these people, you'll see in the high rise here, grew up, went on, had lives, had children, had families who, grandkids, whatever, creating this bloodline that was never meant to exist because these people were marked by death years prior. So now death isn't just coming for the survivors of this one event. They're coming for everybody that was created as a result. That's the new twist of the movie. That's how they decided to go bigger. And by God, is that the right thing to do? This movie, this trailer gives me hope that they actually have a sequel on their hands here that is going to be something different. And I'm really excited about that. I'm super excited to see that. And personally, I love seeing Tony Todd, but it does make me sad. Tony Todd, rest in peace. This is maybe his last performance that we're ever going to get. So hopefully they, were able to keep or shoot a lot of footage to give us something. But Tony Todd, that's cool too, because this movie, it's a legacy sequel. Imagine that. But this seems like this is what I know what you did last summer failed to do, was to go, let's do the same thing again that worked, that people responded to, that they enjoyed. Let's do that, but let's make it good. How about that? Why didn't I Know What You Did Last Summer try that? Their plot synopsis is fucked. Their plot synopsis sounds like they just have been asking for years to reboot the movie, and finally somebody went, fine, we'll let you reboot it, but only if it's a sequel. You know? Oy. Not a huge jump in quality for I Know What You Did Last Summer, but hopefully for Final Destination Bloodlines, you know, there's hope. It looks like Chad Stahelski might be bringing Blade to the big screen finally. I doubt it, to be honest. But Chad Stahelski would be the right director for something like this. Or you bring back Guillermo del Toro, Oscar-winning Guillermo del Toro, who made Blade 2, which is the best Blade movie, because Guillermo del Toro is one of the best filmmakers. They couldn't afford him. No, they couldn't afford him. But I think Chad Stahelski's the right kind of director for something like this. I really do. Is this reboot ever coming? I don't know. They announced it more than 5 years ago. They announced it probably 7 years ago. And they teased Blade. A lot of people didn't realize this, but they teased Blade at the end of Eternals. Mahershala Ali is the one who goes off camera and goes, "You sure you're ready for that, Mr. Witten?" That's Mahershala Ali. That's Blade right there. And they teased him. It's completely unresolved. Nobody knows what the hell happened. So if Chad Stahelski is to direct this movie, that gives me hope that maybe it is moving forward, because that's, you know, Chad Stahelski, like, he's not the most acclaimed filmmaker, but he is one that if he's supposed to direct your movie, you have to tie him down to the movie, because if not, he will move on and direct another great movie, you know? Or he'll be a jerk. We don't know. But I mean, I guess in either case, I don't think the movie's going to get made, so I guess it doesn't matter. I think this is going to be one of those movies that turns into a Marvel special presentation that's 60 minutes long down the road. That's my guess. Now, I also wanted to talk about this, because this got me excited. This was something that I was excited until I finished reading the headline. Zoinks! A live-action Scooby-Doo origin series. I was like, yes, finally, is unmasked at Netflix. Let me tell you why I don't like this, okay? I love Scooby-Doo, and I'm not gonna be the 30-something-year-old dude who's complaining about a child's cartoon, okay? But I will tell you, I love Scooby-Doo. I'm a big fan of the Scooby-Doo lore. I'm a big fan of the characters of Scooby-Doo. They even have comic books that I have read and enjoyed a little bit, you know, they're not like, you know, they're not masterpieces, but they have some good, silly and spooky comic books, you know. My fear is that what Netflix thinks they're going to be doing here. In fact, I almost know for fucking sure this is what's going to happen. I'm getting upset talking about it. I think Netflix is going to give this the same treatment that they gave Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which, if you don't know, they made a reboot to Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and it was called The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I thought that show had potential. I thought the first season was really good, and then I think it turned into fucking Riverdale after that. And that is what I'm so afraid of. I'm afraid that this is going to become a dark and twisted... I'm afraid of Velma live action. I'm afraid they're going to make Velma, that TV show on HBO, that shitty cartoon, they're going to make that live action. Or they're going to have this weird thing where they're like, yeah, it's Scooby-Doo, but because it's dark, we're not going to have the dog talk. Or we're not going to have Shaggy be silly. We're going to have him be, I don't know, a stoner. Or we're not going to have Fred be, you know, a Boy Scout. We're going to have him be a closeted porn addict, or like, you know, like they're going to try to add these like dark edges to these characters. And, you know, can that work? Yes. Could you work that into a narrative that kind of makes sense for a realistic Scooby-Doo? Yes. And is all of what I'm saying speculation? Yes. But don't do me dirty like that. Give me something. It doesn't have to be super campy. It doesn't have to be like extremely silly. I just would like to see this, if they're going to do it, become something more like expandable. You know, maybe you start with the characters young. You don't over muddy the characters to where they're unlikable like the Euphoria teenagers. maybe try to make it somewhere in between, and I'm okay with that. But Netflix, it's hard to say what you're gonna get from them, because for every Stranger Things, there's Is It Cake, and for every I don't know what's another elite level Netflix thing, for every Adolescence or Baby Reindeer, there's a Riverdale or a Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So it's kind of hard to see what you're gonna get. Yeah, look, Fillmore Pockets. That's exactly that's kind of what I'm here complaining about. Thank you for showing up, by the way. You're never late. We're here for you until we're not. So you're just on time, brother. They're giving Scooby-Doo I mean, this is unconfirmed exactly what the story or tone is, but Netflix is rebooting Scooby-Doo with some kind of origin story. And I don't know, man. I kind of would like to think that it's going to be better than this. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I like the live action Scooby-Doo movies, like the ones that James Gunn wrote. I like those movies. I especially like the first one where they go to Spooky Island, And those movies found a way to be silly while still being like funny for adults and fun for adults. I enjoy that movie still. I'm in my 30s. I still enjoy that first one. So I don't know. I kind of have like excitement because I want more Scooby-Doo, but a little less excitement because it's it's Netflix and it's Netflix sensibilities, and that I don't know about. And finally, another thing I don't know about: Vin Diesel. Another thing that if you guys are regulars at Joe Blow Originals, maybe you've seen the epic Fast and the Furious saga video that I made a couple of years ago. I reviewed every Fast and the Furious movie in one video. I watched all of them. I talked about all of them. And one thing that was almost a complete constant, not entirely, I'll give some credit, not entirely, but almost a complete constant, was I could not fucking stand Vin Diesel. Listen, dude, I don't know what it is. Something about Vin Diesel, something about Dominic Toretto pisses me off. It makes me grate my teeth, I don't know if it's that Vin Diesel has a classic case of like main character syndrome, and everybody who writes these movies takes way too many notes from Vin Diesel to make Dom the coolest, but smartest, but most sensitive, but most badass guy in the world. But like, dude, you're throwing all of these things out, like you're tough and, and rock hard, but you also have a heart of gold and you're soft in the middle when it comes to Michelle Rodriguez or your family. But you'll blow up a tank, but you absolutely will not kill someone who doesn't deserve it. No way. Okay, I just love that sound. I'm sorry, guys. Vin Diesel is in talks to direct a short film in the Fast and the Furious universe that will set up the final movie, The Fate of the Furious, or whatever what's the sequel to Fast X going to be called? They can't call it F1 as much as they want, because that's that Brad Pitt movie about F1 racing, which also looks awesome, from the director of Top Gun Maverick. That was a trailer we watched last week that I loved, but oh man. So Vin Diesel has directed before. I was talking to Chris Bumbray about this earlier. You guys know Chris. He's the best. And Vin Diesel has directed a couple of movies. I have not seen the movies he's directed. But this is going to be his second time making a Fast and the Furious short film. There was Los Bandoleros, a prequel to the fourth installment franchise, which explained that Dominic Toretto had a brother. That was, I think, kind of what they did. This is going to be, honestly, I'm so checked out of the Fast and the Furious franchise at this point. I'm so checked out of it that I just am assuming it's going to be more of the same shit. It's going to be, check out how badass Dom Toretto is. Check out how tight his muscle t-shirt is. Check out how long he can carry a franchise without Paul Walker, who was clearly the more charming of the two. You know, like, this is a series that, man, like, I'm ready for it to end. I'm done with it. I think Vin Diesel doesn't need to be directing short films to flesh out anything else. Dude, we are already we are so much further into this universe than we ever had any right to be. If you look at the first movie, which is very good, the first Fast and the Furious movie is, I always say, it's the Point Break remake that we all deserve, you know, as opposed to the shitty actual Point Break remake. Fast and the Furious, which I think was originally called Racer X, that movie kicks ass. That movie is so good from start to finish. Everything is good. The second one, silly, still kind of good. Tokyo Drift, pretty good. What was the fourth one? Fast and Furious? Nah. F5, probably the best one. The first Fast and the Furious and the fifth Fast and the Furious, Fast 5. Those are the two best ones. But this is a series of movies with diminishing returns, and we have gone so far from how this all started that we don't need any more short films adding development. We just don't need it, you know? Woo. Might have got a little fired up there. Yeah. Yeah, Joe Fierro, I'm pretty much the same. F5, though. Fast 5 was my favorite one. That's the one where they steal the safe. And it's kind of a sick movie, honestly. I love it. All right. That's the movie news we're going to cover today, you guys. Let's do a giveaway. You guys in the mood for a little giveaway? Now, as usual, y'all, this is a North American giveaway, which means if you want to qualify to win, you do have to be in North America. That's Canada, the United States, or Mexico. Okay? Got to be in one of those three places. All right. And that's just, you know, for the sake of shipping. We had to ship a popcorn bucket to like Germany or something recently, and it was very, very expensive. So just to save until, you know, hey, unless you guys want to throw in some super chats, pay for shipping. Just kidding. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give away this Avengers t-shirt. Now, John and I, Arrow and I picked this one because I like personally my Iron Man to be the vintage Tony Stark Iron Man suit. And this Captain America uniform was voted on Marvel's website as one of the most iconic costumes of all time. So we just figured this shirt was designed for people like us, geeks who want cool stuff. None of that weak stuff. So we're going to be giving away a vintage Avengers logo t-shirt. This is also based on one of the original covers, I believe, drawn by Jack Kirby. So if you're a fan of art in general, that's a pretty historic picture. It's got Black Widow, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. And if you want to win this, all you have to do is tell me who you would cast to play Stan Lee in a biopic about Marvel Comics. And I'm going to pick my favorite answer. And that person, if you're in North America, will win. Okay? So let me put on some music while you guys submit your entries, and I'll be reading them as they come in. Turn the music down a little bit before I play it. Don't want to blow anyone's eardrums. Cartoon Man says Tom Hanks as Stan Lee. He did. He could. He played Mr. Rogers, and that was pretty good. If you guys haven't seen that movie, it was good. Tom Hanks was great in it. Tom Hanks, not bad. Not bad. Paul Dano, that's interesting. A younger Stan Lee, like, you know, during the inception of Marvel. Yeah, keep in mind too, he could be any age. It could be Stan Lee at any age. It doesn't have to be young or old. You could choose. Yeah, Grey Jedi. Grey Jedi actually has a good point. He says that's cheating. Tom Hanks can do anything, and I agree. I love Tom Hanks, and I don't think he's a pedophile, and I don't think Pizzagate's real. I think Tom Hanks is a national fucking treasure. That's what I think. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I weirdly, I thought that was a joke at first, but I weirdly know what you mean. I think if you were to put like some Stan Lee, I don't have any Stan Lee shades, but I have my Cyclops, my Scott Summers shades. If you were to kind of do the Stan Lee shades on Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he could probably pull it off. Ooh, Bruce Dern. Kevin Feige. Oh, Be Positive 99. I love that. Kevin Feige is Stan Lee. I love it. J.K. Simmons. That would make sense because Stan Lee wrote the character of J. Jonah Jameson as a self-insert character for Stan Lee, and J.K. Simmons played him. That would be cool. J.K., that's a good answer. Ah, okay. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. Bryan Cranston. So that was my answer. I was like when I came up with this question, I was like, I would do Bryan Cranston. I think Bryan Cranston could do the voice if he had to, which you don't have to, but it is iconic. True believer. You know, that very nasally voice that Stan Lee has, and it's so charming when he does it. But when I do it, it sounds like I'm appropriating people from New York. And I'm not. You know? Gary Oldman, that's another good answer, man. Jeez, you guys really came to play. Yeah, Jack Kirby is the GOAT. That is correct. YouTuber with Kiki is the profile picture 06. That is correct. Jack Kirby is indeed the GOAT. He's one of my... Todd McFarlane, you know, is like a personal hero of mine. But his hero is Jack Kirby, therefore I've always... It's like how David Blaine was one of my heroes growing up, but his hero was Houdini, so I, by extension, also really love Houdini. Kind of the same thing. Let's see. Who else we got? Mark Maron. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ooh, Kyle Gallner. Damn, you guys. Some of these are so good. Robert Downey Jr. Fuck off. I liked it better when you said Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Willem Dafoe. Yeah. Martin Freeman. That's good. I like Martin Freeman. I gotta go. Honestly, I gotta go with... Where's it at? I gotta go with 3D Head Creeps. This is the winning answer for me. As long as 3D Head Creeps, I need you to confirm for me just right now. Are you in North America? Are you in Canada, the United States, or Mexico? If you're in one of those three places, if you're in North America, you definitely won this giveaway with Mark Maron playing Stan Lee. That is just loud round of applause. That was good, man. Really good. So, yeah, let me know if you can confirm for me in the comments. 3D Head Creeps. Let me know that you are indeed in North America, and I'll tell you how you can win, or how you can claim your prize. So let me know. Really good. If you guys don't know who Mark Maron is, please familiarize yourself with the guy. His comedy is very funny. He has a podcast I don't really listen to. I'm trying to kind of break free of podcasts, you know? I think, like, they influence my personality on the live stream too much. Like, if I listen to a comedian on a podcast, I find myself on the next live stream, like, emulating that comedian, and I'm trying not to do that because it's terribly cringe to watch these videos back when I'm doing that. The Glow TV show? Yeah, well, yeah, he's great at everything, man. He's a good voice actor. He's just a very funny guy. Seems like a very humble guy. All right, 3D Head Creeps, you are in the US. Woo! All right, man. Well, you won the giveaway. Congratulations on that part of it. All you have to do, if you want to win, or if you want to claim your prize, which is this t-shirt here, go ahead and send an email to arrow@joeblow.com. That is John Fallon, the producer of the show, also a personal friend of mine. Here's what I want you to do. Make sure you're listening to this because it is important. Make sure you provide your actual name, your real name, the best place for us to ship it. It could be a P.O. box. It could be a home address, a work address. We don't really care. Let us know what size t-shirt you prefer. We can do big and tall. We could do petite. We could do regular, from small to 4XL. Doesn't really matter. But let us know what your size is in the email, and we will have that shipped out to you by next week. Okay? And thank you guys so much for playing. Hip Hop Legend, thank you for, as always, Hip Hop Legend, thank you for always congratulating the winner of the giveaway. That is very cool of you to do, and I always like seeing it. And, all right, guys, with that being said, we have officially covered everything that I wanted to cover for tonight. And I wish I could stay around and do this all night, but I actually have to go because I am going to the movies tonight. So I should probably take another shower and, do that. So thank you guys all so much for being here. I say this every week, but I am really trying to find my tribe. I'm trying to find my people that like what I'm doing, that appreciate, the kind of gags and the fun that we have around here. And if that's you, please consider coming back next Friday. For my returning people, welcome home, as always. And if you guys really wanted to do me a favor, obviously like the stream, please do me the biggest favor you can do. Share this. Encourage your friends to watch it with you on a Friday night. If they're into this sort of thing, maybe they'll enjoy it. Okay, so all right. Much love to you guys, and I think I'm going to outro you out and get about my day. Good night.